Hello, everyone. Welcome to Youth Arts Collective. So happy to have all of you here today. Very excited to be hosting this book reading of the book, Hey Dad, I Don't Like You. Very proud of the work being done today. For anyone unfamiliar, Youth Arts Collective is a 401c3 nonprofit organization. We are an art studio and mentorship program. We serve teens ages 14 to 22. We're basically an open studio for young creatives to come in and be able to work on the projects they want to work on at their own pace, and we have professional artist mentors to help give them guidance. A lot of the work that you see on the walls here are part of our current summer show. It's a summer showcase showing off all the wonderful work that our artists have been doing for the past several months. So happy to have this event today to showcase the work being done by our own Demi. So proud of her work here. And now I'd like to pass it off to a colleague of mine, Luca Oak. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much. I think we're using this for the recording, right? Because I think all of you can hear me okay. Thank you all so much for coming. My name is Luca Oak, and I am one half of the creative partnership that is Hearts of Gold Creative Initiative. And we are incredibly just excited and incredibly fortunate to have YAC in Monterey and to have access to all of these incredible artists. This project came to involve YAC because of the founders, Meg and Marcia. I was introduced to them by my good friend back there, Rachel Saunders. Hi, Rachel. I was introduced to Meg and Marcia, and we had this illustrated story that needed an artist. I asked them if they could help us find an artist, and they brought me to this incredible young person here. They brought me to Demi. So I hear that there are some people here who might be related to Demi. So you're the choir I'm already preaching to when I talk about how Demi really is just a wonderful, wonderful addition to this project. She's a wonderful addition to our creative circle. Her illustrative work actually changed the direction of the project. Her artistry and her creativity had a profound impact on how we thought about what the project could be. I'm going to let her and Thomas talk about that more. The author, Thomas, I'm going to let them talk about that more when we get to that. But I think one thing that I was always really struck by is, Demi, you seem to be really close to your family. You all are, seem to like each other and get on well with each other. So, I was always curious, why'd you want to be involved in a project called Hey Dad, I Don't Like You? Like, what was that like when you asked me? You're like, do you go home and tell hey, everyone, I have something I need to tell you? So I just wonder, actually I'm going to sit down as I ask this question. I'm just curious sort of what drew you to the project and what made you want to be involved. And I'm sorry, you got everybody has to do it. Do you want me to hold it for you? I can hold it for you.
I got it.
All right. So the question is what, given the subject of the book, what made you want to be involved with the project? Yeah.
That's a very good question. I haven't really thought of an answer for that. Yeah. But as I continue doing the work or doing the illustrations and reading through the book, as well as getting to know you and Thomas, it's almost it's almost relatable in a way. So granted, the circumstances are very different with one another, but I guess in a sense of mental health and dealing with depression and such, that's something I could actually somewhat relate to.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. So just the challenges that end up coming from this particular experience is you could relate to some of those challenges. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So could you just talk a little bit before we get into reading the book? Could you just talk a little bit about your creative choices for the book and sort of how the story inspired you in terms of your art?
Yeah. So again, when I first met you and Thomas, and we were talking about the book, the way I was also finishing up with this other commission gig for this theater for their designing, and while I was having this meeting with you guys, the way you guys were explaining the story and what exactly you guys wanted, as well as how the characters are going to be, I vaguely remember how Thomas and you mentioned it doesn't have to be a boy or a girl, or it doesn't matter what race it is or what sex, it could be anyone or anything. And I was when I was thinking about it, like, okay, so it doesn't necessarily have to be anything specific. So I thought, okay, what if something that is not in like something that's a bit more of like something more eternal, something that is like representing like someone like of like a soul, like representing what like their aura in a sense.
Can I see the book really
Yeah,
quickly?
of course.
And so then that's how we get this. Like just like the representation of the aura, of the soul, of the spirit of someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could I have the mic for just a second?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I remember when I first saw this, when Demi first sent over a sample of the book, it was so beyond what I had imagined. And my first thought was, I don't know if the author's I don't know if he's gonna get down with this. Like this is just, these are like round balls of light. Like I don't know what we're doing here. And so I shared this with him, and he'll talk more about this too. But I do remember that conversation. I remember it very specifically. We had it while I was walking on Del Monte Beach, and I was telling him about this, and he looked at it and he said, "That is amazing. That's amazing." And we had another artist that we'd commissioned. She's a 14-year-old award-winning artist in Texas, and she was also submitting her suggestions for the book. And so he was saying, I don't know which one to pick. And I said, don't pick. Why not just do both? And he was like, we could do that? And I was like, we could do anything we want. Well, we can do anything we can afford. Okay, so that's what we can really do. But we can do that. We can actually have multiple versions of this book, and we can have the illustrators, the artists actually create the diversity for the book, the way to include all kinds of people. So now we have this vision of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of versions of this book by all kinds of illustrators and artists. And that is because of Demi, because she provided something that was so unique and so unexpected. It really opened up our vision for what this could be. So I can't thank you enough for that. And also the YAC mantra, do art, be kind. That is absolutely you. That's absolutely you. So I want to thank you and just really appreciate you for the work that you've done here. Let me give this back to you because I'll end up stealing it.
It's okay. I got a couple more coffees.
Okay, good. So I think actually a last question I'd want to ask you before we turn it over to get the story read is just now that you've actually created this book and you have this is your first book commission, right?
Not exactly. Like I have done commissions before, and I've done a children's book for someone else, that talks about consent, like what is a good touch and a bad touch.
Oh, amazing.
Mm-hmm. And
okay.
But this is actually the first time where I've done a book that's actually really, really big, like something that is something I've never necessarily done before. Like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have a sense that this is something that you'd want to do more of, or do you have other projects now that you think you want to focus on?
I think like in the future I'll definitely want to try something like this, like do illustrations for a book. As of right now, I'm actually making preparations for this year's Inktober. For anyone who don't know what Inktober is, it's actually this yearly challenge that many artists would actually do for themselves. Like the challenge itself, like it does have other prompts and such that many artists would go for. However, they can also like do challenges for themselves or think of ideas for themselves, like what theme. And that's something that I'm actually doing for myself for my Inktober is like I do Inktober like depending on the theme. So for this year's theme, it's urban legends.
All right. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like though you would be interested in more book illustrations. Like you would be interested in doing this kind of thing again.
Yeah.
Good, because we're going to be talking to you. All right. Well, Demi, thank you so much. Thanks for talking a little bit about your process. And there's going to be more conversation to come with you. And I want to actually kind of get out of the way and turn this over. So without any further ado, I want to actually introduce the person who is the reason this project exists and all of us are here. And that is my creative partner, my godson, and one of my favorite people, Thomas Gold. Come on up, Thomas. So, over to you.
Okay. Hey, everybody. My name is Thomas. This is the book that I wrote. Well, I guess what I'll do is I'll talk about how it came to be, and then I'll do the reading, and then probably say some more words, and then we'll take it from there. So it was 2021 at the end of the summer. Luca and I were talking on the phone, and it was just a normal catch up. How are things? How are your family? And the topic of my father came up, and I was just telling her my feelings towards him, our relationship, all that jazz. And she asked me if I had told him any of this, and I responded with, well, no, it's not like I can walk up to the guy and say, hey, Dad, I don't like you. She's like, oh, that'd be such a great book title. We laughed, moved on with our lives, didn't really talk about it anymore. And then a couple nights later, I was sitting in bed and just kind of ruminating on the title. And then 15 minutes later, this book was written. Hasn't changed much since then, except for essentially 2 words. Show of hands, who knows what a trebuchet is? Okay, that's why I took the word out of the book. Well, that's actually, I didn't want to take it out. Luca very wisely told me, take that word out. I think I also had the word evermore in there. It's a good word, but yeah, I like children's books. The Giving Tree is one of my favorite books of all time.
Oh, yes.
It's really great book. So I like the way they read. I like that they have pictures. I like that they're short, and so I think this is why I kind of gravitated to that. So yeah, that's how the book came to be. And like Luca already mentioned, she gave the introduction to Demi, and we're just eternally grateful for you and your work on this. Yeah, all right. Guess I'll just get on with the reading.
Before you read,
Yeah.
what does that word mean? Trebuchet.
It's a kind of catapult. So there's like a weight that drops, and there's like a arm that slings something around.
Instead of like this, it slings it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So instead of just the arm lifting up, there's a sling that just launches it.
Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
yeah. That was a.
She just thought in case you might want it.
Yes, yeah.
Just in case.
Because I thought he was hiding something because he wasn't going to say what it meant.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, thank you for that. I didn't.
Because who knows what it means, and then all of a sudden.
Yeah, how dare I bring up that word and not explain it? Yeah, that's just unfair. That's unfair. No, that was actually my science project for I think like 3rd or 5th grade. Just like built a trebuchet. And anyway, we don't need to get into that. Without further ado, here is Hey Dad, I Don't Like You by Thomas Gold, illustrated by Demi Seva'aetasi.
All right, Demi.
Do you feel comfortable sitting up here for the reading?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Okay, so this is from my father, his father, and all the fathers who came before them. This is from my mother, my godmother, Grandma Rose, my given family, my chosen family, and little Adrian. One sunny day, my thoughts came to say, where has my father been all along the way? We had some fun days, building things from wood and clay. We watched many movies and shows, including How It's Made. He was there but never here, always a mouth but never an ear. His anger was pure and his patience short. God forbid disagreements of any sort. I never realized what I've always yearned, the many lessons I never learned. I don't remember flying a kite. I failed at learning to ride a bike. How do you shave? What kind of belt do you wear with these shoes? What does that blinking light in my car mean? How do you fix this leaky faucet? More important than simple tasks were the feelings I couldn't quite unmask. How do I survive sticks and stones when all my emotions are foreign to my bones? What do I do when I'm angry? How do I deal with sadness? What makes me angry? What makes me sad? I heard my father slam many doors. I heard his yelling across the floors. I pitied the people on his path. Just one wrong step would trigger his wrath. The rage persists and has become something new. Full-on trauma is now in full view. Everything sucks. People are the worst. Everything is doomed. This world is cursed. Much of his anger is from his past, and without help, it will forever last. What shouldn't be my emotions to wear are now burdens I must bear. Sometimes I stare in the mirror full of sorrow, knowing his example is one I don't wish to follow. My apple may not fall far from his tree, but planting my own may set me free. I had never asked what I felt because I was running from pain. Now I know my heart is full of love, but for him, I only feel disdain. It's the conversation I don't wish to have, but something I must do. It begins with a phrase that pains me to say, "Hey Dad, I don't like you."
Powerful.
Yeah, so this experience has been quite cathartic for me. There's a lot of feelings I didn't know that I had, and a lot of stuff that I've come to face with and have been trying to work through. And through that process, I've moved from disdain to more empathy. And one thing that I've come to realize is that we are all shaped. My father didn't have a Luca. He didn't have the mother that I had. He didn't have a family that was supportive or caring. Everybody back then either didn't know about therapy or was allergic to therapy, or was anti-therapy. I'm Hispanic, and so our culture is kind of be a man, suck it up, stop crying, and we're allowed a very narrow piece of the spectrum of emotions, and so I understand that his circumstances are quite different than mine. However, something that I've come to realize also is that we are all responsible for who we choose to be. And I truly believe anyone can walk the path of healing. So that's, I have an afterword after the story, talking about some of this, and also at the end, I talk about some things that have just helped me along my journey. Walking, I like walking. I hate running. I absolutely hate running. But I will walk. I will walk for an hour and I will be happy about it. I hear it gives blood to your brain and it's good for you and all that jazz, but mostly when I'm really charged with emotions, I just need to move. And so that's manifested in unhealthy ways, and so walking is a good outlet for that for me. So walking really helps. And therapy, I go to therapy. I've been in and out of therapy since I was 17. Oh my gosh, what else? Excuse me. Sometimes I forget what I write. Wise counsel, yes. So I have what I call a wise counsel, and this is just a group of people that I go to for things good that have happened, things that I don't know how to deal with. Luca is part of that wise counsel. My mother is another person, and also having a learner's mind. I'm quite stubborn, but I'm also open to change, and so I think developing and putting energy and time into having a learner's mind in many aspects of my life has helped a lot. And I don't really think I'd be open to something like therapy without also being willing to learn. And yeah, that's all that's contained in this book. There is one last illustration at the end.
That's nice.
Yeah, this is very nice.
Hopeful.
Yes, exactly, yeah, hopeful. Walking into the light, leaving behind the tree. Yeah, so does anyone have any thoughts or feelings or questions?
I think that if everybody would just take a moment when their parents are being creeps, or realize that when you were born, you didn't come holding a paper saying how to raise this child successfully, happily, and that child be successful. So it would have been nice, but it didn't. So bear with your parents and know that they're trying. Mm-hmm. And that's all. And I think that book was just really right on the number.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Thank you. Yeah.
For me?
Yes.
No, I don't know when she brought the book over, but reading the book, I think all fathers, no matter what they do or how they act.
Who are you?
I'm Demetria's father, by the way. So, when you read the title, it's one of those things like, really, do I want to read this? But you do it anyways, and I just want to know what it was all about. But it's kind of like a learner's manual. It's like a manual to be a father, a good one. And I thought it was perfectly written. I think every dad should read it. I mean, if they don't, it's definitely for something, therapeutic. It's very therapeutic. So when you read it, it's one of those things like, am I that guy? And if I am, can I fix that? And I think it's beautiful. So I thought you did a really good job.
Thank you very much.
And I love the fact that my daughter had an opportunity to illustrate it. So it was really good.
Because like she said, it also relates to depression and everything that goes along with that. So you spoke more on that too. You went further with that, which is great for all.
Thanks. Yeah. Do you, after you read that, did you think, oh, I'm kind of that guy?
I questioned myself a lot.
Did you?
Yeah, honestly, it's like, because you have those opportunities, those moments where, you get angry, and I'm sure I get scary, and, my culture's not too far from the Hispanic culture growing up. So, we're taught the same thing, toughen up, suck it up, be a man, don't show your feelings, and things like that. So, but again, we don't know how our kids are feeling sometimes because they don't tell us. Sometimes, a lot of times that's something that's held back. And reading that book kind of tells you like, hey, they're going through things, and when you act up and you're everything in that part is like you're reacting, but you're not being a father. And it's kind of one of those things where you're thinking to yourself, how good of a father am I? Can I be better? That's the thing that I always think to myself, can I do a better job? And I think, like I said, that it's a book that I think every father, should pick up and read.
100%.
100, yeah. If you're going to become a father, soon to be a father, if you're a father now, I think every father should actually read this book. And
That should be on there.
It should be. It should be kind of almost like required reading.
You just had this baby, here you go. Cut this, here you go.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it should be required reading, and I think a lot of people don't, there's so many books how to become good parents and stuff, but you don't really see, the other point of view.
The other side.
The other side. I've never read anything like it, and it was crazy.
Wow.
So, it was one of those things where it's like, ooh.
It blew our mind.
No, it did. It does. It blows you away. All right, because you can read from the parents' point of view all you want, but when you read from the
Kids.
the kids' point of view, it really
It's like,
it hits home. It does. It's like a stab in the heart. Like boom. Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing as a parent or a dad? And so I appreciate it, Thomas. I thought what you did was beautiful. I think more people should read it, and hopefully it's something that it goes big.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and I really appreciate that you can at least ask the question, how can I be better?
Yeah.
That
it's
is
like-
Absolutely.
everybody should ask
That
Absolutely.
book will
Yeah.
bring that out of you. Trust me, and it was good.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's
You're
very
welcome.
kind of you.
thank you.
And Demi, if you're comfortable, how would you describe your relationship with your father? I know that's putting you on blast. Before you answer, I'll just say that the reason I feel comfortable asking is because it seems like you all are a pretty cohesive and close family, and so I'm okay pushing on that button a little bit. So it's not with bad intentions. I promise.
All right. Well, my relationship with my dad, honestly, I have a really good relationship with my dad. I don't think there was a time where there was any rift between us and such. It's granted, and it's like what he said, there are times where he can get scary when he's mad, but I think it's just out of fear of like if something were to happen to me, or like it's out of just like well-meaning, like being protective. Like that's something I can understand. But I honestly like I don't think there was ever a time where like him and I like argued or something. We've always been pretty mutual with each other, like having like really good with each other.
Okay.
Well, if you know her, it's
Pretty easy to
It's just like it's just
no, she's.
I'm not saying she's my favorite.
I think y'all are gonna melt her down with embarrassment.
Yeah, if you hang out with her long enough, it's not easy to like fall in love with her. So it's there's nothing to be upset. I don't think Demi's ever done. I mean, her demeanor is just lovely, and I'm just so proud to be her father. So it's one of those things.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you're my dad.
Yeah.
Okay. Now keep on.
I'm happy he's your dad too.
And I'm happy that you're happy.
Yes. And did any kind of feelings about your dad come up as you were doing any of these illustrations? Like, did you have like a newfound appreciation or?
Not necessarily. I mean, like I would like I think when I was like reading this, I was just thinking about like my dad, like, and I was thinking, was there ever a time like I was like thinking about was there ever a time like I said, like like I said, I had a really good relationship with my dad, so so for that part it's kind of a little hard to relate, but at the same time you mentioned something about when I was reading this, and we mentioned something about like depression and mental health, like that's definitely something I could relate to in a sense, because like I'm someone who has depression, like specifically I was diagnosed with moderate depression recently, so I can understand where that comes from. And it's like what people say, like, or at least for me, like having to express or try to talk about how I feel, like I feel like it's not enough for some people to understand. So I like think to myself, like, okay, instead of like telling people how I feel, why not just show it them? And that's kind of why I do my art. It's like, it's almost like doing art is it's like almost like an escapism for me, and like cathartic too. Like that's something to kind of help me like process on how I feel and such.
You have to understand too, Demi is one of four girls that he has, and they're all different. All of them. I'm the grandmother, so
okay.
I mean, they're all of them are different, and it is so he has quite the experience being a dad.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And they all live, so that's a good thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, the boyfriends aren't married yet.
And that's the way it should.
And so, not being able to really relate with the subject matter itself, where were you? Because your illustrations are ripe with emotion, and so were you pulling that from your own struggles or somewhere else?
It's like thinking about it now, like during the time, like even before this, I was thinking about like my art in general, and like what messages convey, or like what each of the what people could actually kind of like reach or like kind of connect to. And I think with my art, I think it's just more so of like with colors, like emotion. Like most of my art, I kind of express emotions based on colors and like the mood. So I think when you were explaining about the story and like what each of your character, doesn't necessarily have to be something distinct. And that's when I thought, okay, like maybe something that's a bit more like dreamlike, like something that is a bit more surreal, like something that you would see only in a dream, like in colors. And I know I'm kind of a little getting off topic, but I think that's where I get the idea from is with that style. And I think with this commission, like it gives me more opportunity to kind of like play around with this style more, and especially with colors and which color would go great with this particular page or this particular sentence in a way. So I think honestly, like if there's one thing that I could like bring, if I could explain what my art has the most, it's just basically emotions based on colors and such.
Yeah, I was really glad to hear you say that you're interested in doing more book projects in the future, because the world needs more of this art. I just want to. Oh man, yeah, all of this is just so great.
You know, can I share too? I don't know if everyone here knows, but Thomas actually ended up getting that book. So he lives in El Paso, Texas, and he ended up getting the book into an art gallery. Wow. Showing from June to July 22nd. So the book was on display in an art gallery, which is exactly where it belongs, because that's exactly what it is. It's a piece of fine art. And so it was really phenomenal to have it on display in the gallery, and then we did a reading in the gallery. And one of the ideas that we have come to as well is to have some of the pieces from some of the pages printed as art pieces, and they can actually be displayed as art. Yeah, they can very much just stand on their own.
I think a really good example of like me trying to explain like the colors like based on like emotion stuff is definitely this page right here. This is actually my favorite page that I've like done the most. Like it gives me an opportunity to kind of play around with colors and play around with like textures and see which one works best, and like you can really tell like the colors based on the mood. Like it goes from like light to like shadowy dark, and then even in like places that seem very dark, there's still some luminescence to it. Like I think that's what it is. Like in my dreams in general, my dreams always seems very like dark, like literally dark, but there's still some luminescence, lighting, and you kind of want to go there out of curiosity. I think that's what it is, like even colors too. So yeah.
Any other questions or thoughts from folks? Any other reflections? Anything?
Can I just say something?
You can say all the things.
I think Demi rose to this occasion so well, so incredibly well, and the art is so unique and fits your beautiful writing. I was very, very impressed with how the whole thing turned out, and I'm so excited to get a book. So thank you, and Golden. Thank you for contacting YAC, and I knew Demi was the one. That's great. And it just was a very smooth transaction, and Demi. So proud of you.
I'm actually curious about something.
Yes.
Because there are hundreds of YACsters who have come through. There have been hundreds and hundreds of YACsters. How did you know Demi was the one? Because you had a lot of options to choose from.
I pretty much go with my intuition. And Demi was doing a lot of digital art that I could see applying to this, and she took it farther than I had even seen, but she's an older YACster. I mean, she's definitely the older YACster. And I knew she'd be responsible. And so, yeah, it was, she was here. We've got YACsters out there that are illustrators and all that, but I thought it was important that you met face to face. So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Such a powerful piece of work, both of you. Comes from the heart.
All right. Well, unless there's anything else, any final words from either of you? Thank you for your collaboration. Thank you.